immigrants would be a greater value here. So that at the moment is very less in practice. So that has to be improvised, and if, as I said in the first point, if you are really aware about the existing services, and maybe you can provide some additional additional gaps that you identify, as well as what you can introduce for the system as well. Yes, that's all.
Of course, for the third question, we are still developing this kind of system, and also the language barriers. And we were talking about the ground rule officer of a system we call Grama Niladhari. Even he doesn't know that what kind of facilities available and the NGOs available, those stuff. And actually, the language barrier is the biggest problem. And also, we are now welcoming many countries officially also. So we are waiting for a proper system to develop in this aspect. We also want to find some professional, productive social workers. We have many social workers. They know, they got all the theoretical knowledge. But practically, we need to empower our social workers also in these migrant projects. Hope you got my answers nutshell.
Thank you, and we move on to another group. This group, can one from this side come forward and present your? There's a request from. It's better if you can come front and present your finding.
According to our group discussion with the team, when we answer to that, the third question, if we assume that as a migrant, when we go to any other country, we expect some facilities from the social workers, especially we are once we are going to any other country, we feel some isolation and we are not much familiar with that their culture and their society. Therefore, we want to we expect great assistance from social workers, especially that the social worker is I suppose that he is the most reliable person who can direct the migrant. Therefore, when once we are going to the social worker, we expect several assistance, and from that how can get that relevant place to stay, and the way that we adapt to that culture, then as well as how to overcome the language barriers, how to get involved with the cultural practices in that country. That kind of assistance will expect from the social worker in that another country. Therefore, as a social worker, we also have to think on such a way that the migrant who came to our country also expect that kind of facilities, assistance from our side. So therefore, we have to rethink on that, how to prepare the social worker to overcome that kind of need, that kind of requirement from within our profession.
Okay, so let's go to the first question. How social workers in Sri Lanka enhancing cultural competence to make Sri Lankan social services more inclusive for all regardless of ethnicity, religion, spirituality, language and other cultural factors. So here you can see cultural context. There are several cultural sensitivity and also language barriers there. So and also adaptation. When it comes to cultural sensitivity, so I am Sinhala and I'm Roman Catholic. So if I give my service to Muslim people, so how can I support and empower them if I don't know about their culture, values, their ethnicity and their ethics in their religion? So how can I empower them without knowing their culture? Can I ask question from someone? How can I empower them without knowing their culture?
Yeah, for that I would say like I would tell them and say I'm from this particular area. I'm really new to this context. I'm interested to know about your culture first, and then let's see how we can get to know each other very well. So first I have to get familiar with their cultural context, and I would like to ask, I'm interested to know about your culture. Please tell me. Then we can develop a good rapport on that and do the conversation or whatever the work together.
That's correct. So I, as a student social worker, I'm learning about Islam, and also this is my best friend. He gave me a Quran, so I'm reading Quran every day. So it doesn't matter that I'm Sinhala, Buddhist or Roman Catholic, whatever. When it comes to our profession, we all are the same. So and also language barrier. So when we have to give our service to the as a professional social worker, we have to know about their language also. So I'm Sinhala and I don't know about their other languages. So we have to learn about their languages. At least we have to understand them. So that's all. I'll give Amra Sari to continue.
Okay, I would like to add some things related to the first questions and those things. Yeah, that's a cultural sensitivity. That's a totally different each and every religions and ethnicities. We need to learn about their other cultures because as a social workers, we need to work with, I'm a Muslim, I need to work Tamil community, or Sinhala community, Christianis, and also brother was telling us in Gambia, some Myanmar migrant refugees also there. We need to know about their cultures, what are the beliefs and ethics and values they as a religious faith. Basically, we need to some issues when you are a woman entering a mosque, you need to wear hijab, they're covering their heads and everything. That's a totally different each and everything. Without knowing those knowledges, we can't work with the social workers within the community. Basically, the next one is a language. In Sri Lanka, we are using Sinhala, Tamil and English, the major languages we are using. When I'm entering my Colombo area, there's most of the areas they are speaking Sinhala. After I come back to the Colombo, I was learning to Sinhala language because I need to serve this community because most of the most populations they are speaking Sinhala. Then I want to learn about the Sinhala. Then one of my friends who is from Gol, he moved on to the Upper district. He need to work with those people. He don't know about Tamil because the Upper district more speaking language is Tamil. Then he learned talk to Tamil, and because we need to serve with the community, because there is a need to know about the issues based on the mother tongue. If I talking like this, my mother tongue is Tamil. If I talk with Tamil, I can give more explanations in Tamil. But there's my learning language in English, but there's some issues like that. If you need to know about the people's needs and those issues, problems, We need to talk with our mother tongues because those are comfortable with their mother tongues and everything. We need to when we need the relationship building, rapport building, we need to make a comfortable with the client or anyone. We need to make a comfortable. When we talk with the mother tongue, they are capable to getting comfortable with us and making a rapport building with the clients and with the work. Like third one's the adoption. If I already mentioned I come to the Colombo, there's a most speaking areas, there's temples near my road. There's a temple because then I want to adapt the cultures and everything. Then I need to late nights, then some prayer days we need to keep silence or something. Some we have make our prayer silently on those days and something. We need to adapt the community culture and beliefs based on that. We try to like that when you simply move on to the Muslim community. We need to about the per day 5 times into prayer. On that times keeping silent and everything. You need to adopt the community and where to move on. The second question is, how can we social workers in Sri Lanka support Sri Lankan international and domestic migrants, including working together with social workers in destination countries or cities and supporting them when they return to Sri Lankan areas or their families who are left behind in Sri Lankan rural areas. According to the UN guideline, the United Nations High Commission of Refugees, we need to learn about what are the UN guidelines under the UNHCR. We need to teach our social workers, those are the guidelines. And based on that, if we need some counseling support for the refugees, or based on that, they have identify the needs or need to prioritize those things and even implement the intervention or something. We need to identify we already want to know about the guidelines, what are the UN mentioning, the Sri Lankan government's constitution mentioning those without lack of knowledge of those things, we can't move on, take all the further steps. Based on that, we need to develop on the and also international organization of migrants, they are supporting some trafficking related programs. I already also mentioned some bureau issues and the migrants, those issues we need to aware. Before that, when you go with the people, before that we need to aware social workers to get the ideas, because when we implementing any intervention or something, any programs and ideas, we need to get those basic ideas related to that. Based on that, we are suggesting some ideas to IOM or UNHCR or even some other organizations. We are get some doing some workshops or some latest awarenesses before move on the community. We need to do for the social workers. Thank you. Next move from the over to you.
And third question is, what advice do Sri Lankan social workers have for social workers in destination countries who work with immigrants from Sri Lanka, including advising them on necessary cultural competence toward Sri Lankan clients? So, our answer is create a system to put Sri Lankan social workers in touch with the social workers in destination countries via embassies. Before that, we all have to follow career guidance officers' opinions. And next one is proper awareness programs before people leave the country, and also on visa process and after that, after coming to the country. Because when the people come to their own country, they are not doing that proper guidelines. And also next one is place social workers in missions where there is requirement, because many illegal immigrants isolate themselves in physical and mentally problems. As a social worker, we all have to strengthen them in physically and mentally. So that's it.
And one point I would like to add for this point, when you are going as a worker of our countries, there's a national vocational qualification. Like that, we need to create something related with how do they we need to prepare them mentally. They are ready to go physically with the individual qualifications and things. We need to try to social workers connect with all those embassies, and we don't know, everyone don't know what are the those like get an example, if you were going to the India, we don't know those countries, what are the context was there, what are the mental situations in there. Based on that, we as a social workers and counselors, psychologists and everything, we are combined and develop a program to how to build their mental knowledge, mental capacity based on their which country they are moving on. Like, thank you.
Thank you. Next group.
Okay, from our group, I think when we started itself, just like what Deepthi said, we were looking at where are the social workers in Sri Lanka. In the sense, the official recognition of Sri Lankans is not there. I think we as social workers have to work very hard to make them recognized at the right places. In places of policy making, advocacy, and so on, and also like anywhere you take disaster management, all question where are the social workers, and you take the elderly council, and then like that, I mean, our presence is not there in the first place, so the rest is an issue. Anyway, coming back to the question number one. What we looked at is that currently the training in social work, there is some effort to train social workers. And what the student said, because I'm far away from the student thing, so let me ask her to share that.
I will break down some points regarding the first question, capacity building of social work students. So as we know that NIST is a pioneering institution, that we are the people who are creating, molding social workers in Sri Lanka. So therefore, in our curriculum also, we have undergraduate courses for the directing or rather focusing on this multicultural aspects. And also when it comes to their field work, and also we are trying to provide good enough qualities, or rather we are trying to make that kind of capacities, capabilities to our students. So it is one of the components in our degree program, field work. And also we have rural camp, and also we have community work projects. And also we, in the our first year program, we have a course on social welfare. So we are trying to expose our students to all the categories of ethnic groups in Sri Lankan society. So it is one of the efforts that we are making to create very kind of social workers who have knowledge on this matter. And also in the master's program, actually we have a separate subject called international social work. So in this year onwards, we are introducing that course to our new batch. So it is one of the efforts that we are making as NIST to address this kind of matters, especially related to these migrants. And also we have inside this NIST, we have language clubs, cultural clubs. So we all, because you know that we have trilingual medium, Tamil medium and English medium students. So therefore we are trying to cater all their capabilities, abilities and talents into one platform, and we give opportunity them to amalgamate or rather make a better place inside the NIST. So this is one of the efforts that we are making as a pioneering institution, and this is also kind of an effort to Sri Lankan society to ensure or rather molding social workers with that capacity.
Okay, we come to number 2. That's about whether it is internal migration or out migration. So in both situations, there are those who are left within the country or left within the rural areas or wherever or in the plantations as against those who are going out. Both these groups have their own vulnerabilities. So therefore, what we looked at is that we need to identify them. I think Ms. Elige was telling, like, when you go through the household list to identify who are these groups. At the same time, anti-social workers also use social mapping and giving the map in communities. So you identify them and who are the vulnerable groups in that. And then social workers still have a role in the identification, then linking to services, analysis, identification, linking to services, and where the services are not there, to advocate for such services. However, coming back to the point that we made earlier, at the moment, in the divisional secretariats, there are certain people who link to these vulnerable groups. It can be the elders' rights promotion assistant. It can be the child officer. Then you have the child rights officer. So like that, there are people. But question is, social workers are not there. Probably some ERPs are trained by NIST at some point. So the issue is, how can we get across social work training to the current people? That's one. And then to the migrant with say vulnerabilities, because we don't know whether these people who are going, when they lack support systems, they fall into substance abuse and various other issues, and we need to have certain systems there. At the moment, I don't think it's there, particularly for rural urban migration. So those are things that we need to identify. And then for the last one, we did not really have time to discuss that point. Yet, I was just thinking, like the Sri Lanka Association of Social Workers, Russian Association of Social Workers, working alongside IFS and then other networks to make it a project, and then look at the ability, at least have a pilot testing to see how does it work, so that we are very focused on what we are doing. And also, let me regress here into the out-migrant workforce. In the Middle East, there is a system where when they are vulnerable, the vulnerable workers, they are able to go to the embassy and seek assistance. And there are also officers going from Sri Lanka to investigate. But again, the issue is social workers are not there. So that's where we need to advocate more on the presence of social workers in all these fronts. Thank you.
Thank you and well done everyone. Dr. Victor, it's for your comments for the presentation.